Hi, Amy here, and I'm going to be sharing some tips and strategies in this short video to tap into the goldmine of public domain content. Public domain content refers to material that is not protected by intellectual property laws like copyrights, can be used without attribution, and actually belongs to the public. So public domain belongs to everybody. And there is a lot of different types of public domain content out there. There are things like articles, photographs, video recordings, and much, much more. And new public domain content is being added almost each and every day because not only are older things often released in the public domain regularly now, but also newer content is also being released in the public domain regularly too. So here's just a few quick examples of public domain content. The movie The Stranger. This was not renewed for copyright and is now in the public domain. This is from the 40s. And the song Happy Birthday, which used to be copyrighted but now is in the public domain. So public domain content is really, really valuable, but you do need to have some strategies in place. So if you know how to use it, you can use it for a lot of different things, but you do need to make sure that the content you are using is in the public domain. And you also then want to take what you know is in the public domain and research how you can apply it for in-demand niches and what people are actually looking for. And then you also have the option to make it unique. Now, you don't have to make it unique, but it does make it more interesting and more valuable in many cases to do so. So as I mentioned, you can use public domain content as is, or you can add more value to it. You can do even things like converting it from one format to another. So for example, you can take a book and convert it into an audiobook or into a video or a slideshow. Here is an example of public domain use. This is an Etsy store that only sells prints of old public domain book plates. So they've put together and gotten some book plates that they've put together and that people are buying the prints of these. Now, there are a few legal considerations for selling public domain content. You can't copyright it as is. So you can create something new with it, a derivative work, and copyright it as your own. So for example, a couple years ago, there was a book called Pride and Prejudice and Zombies, and it was sections of Pride and Prejudice, the classic book by Jane Austen, with new sections written in. And because it was something new was created out of it, they were able to copyright that as something new. You also can't file a trademark for anything that is in the public domain. And sometimes a character can be trademarked even if the work the character appears in is not, or vice versa. So for example, Tarzan, the character is in the public domain, but some of the stories are not. And for example, Frankenstein's monster, the makeup that was created from Universal from the famous movie from the 30s, that is actually trademarked. And if you do watch horror movies, you'll see that when there are newer movies of Frankenstein and Frankenstein's monster, they have to use completely different makeup than what was used with Boris Karloff. So you can always seek the advice of an attorney if you have questions or concerns, or do a little bit of research to see if something that's very popular is now in public domain. Another example recently is a lot of the Sherlock Holmes stories, and the character is now in public domain, but some of the later stories are not. So sometimes with some of these popular characters, there can be some gray areas. So one of the trainings I have on public domain is Easy Peasy Profits. And with this, I actually share 5 specific ways you can use public domain material to make additional income. And I also go ahead and share different examples as well. So you can do things like create a website, create an image collection, and so forth. So what's great about this is these are actual blueprints, and I provide specific examples of people doing this. So it's really great way to get inspired and to get started with public domain. You can check it out in the link below in the description.